One question that has been lingering in many people's minds in the past 2 years is when is this COVID-19 pandemic going to end? Using 八字 and 紫微斗数, we can actually understand why it started in the first place and when will be the estimated time it will subside or end. This virus was first identified from an outbreak in Chinese city Wuhan in December 2019. And what we can understand from the lunar calendar is that it occurs in the year of 子亥 in the month of Bing Zi. As I have taught many times in previous lessons, 八字 is an art and science that uses 8 Chinese characters as metaphors for the interpretation of meanings. If we look at the year 2019, 子亥, and December, which is the month of Bing Zi, it is a metaphor that represents a large amount of water elements diminishing the fire elements. In 八字, 子 is an earthly branch or 地支 that is equivalent to the heavenly stem of 癸, 天干. 癸 represents yin water, which is a metaphor for vapor, water droplets, and the invisible spread of illnesses affecting the lungs or respiratory system. Similarly, COVID-19 transmits when people breathe in air contaminated by droplets and small airborne particles. In Chinese medicine, the lungs and respiratory system is of the metal element. Given that the lungs and respiratory system are responsible for the function of voice and speech, the metal elements often represents anything that produces sound. For example, when you hit a piece of metal, obviously you can hear a loud and bright sound. Water will exhaust and weaken metal. If you look into the 八字 cycle of creation and destruction, given that when metal weakens, it melts into liquid form. Zinc metal is particularly related to the lungs or respiratory system, and zinc metal is of the yin form. In 八字, when one yin element controls or suppresses another yin element, there is a qi-sa relationship, which is a very strong controlling or suppressing relationship. Therefore, in the year 子亥, the Bing Zi month in which metal is weakened into liquid form has represented the start of the spread of COVID-19. Let me highlight again that in the 子亥 year and Bing Zi month, Hai, Zi, Chou will interact and combine to form an extremely strong water combination formation. 就是说亥子丑成一个水局。Zi in the monthly heavenly stem of December 2019 is equivalent to Chou Earth. Therefore, we can see that heavenly stems and earthly branches can be used interchangeably if you have acquired a deeper understanding of the 八字 philosophy. You may ask, then what does Bing fire in the month Bing Zi represents? Bing fire is yang fire and it represents the sun and is a metaphor for anything that kills bacteria and germs. It also represents anything that sterilizes or cleanses. Bing fire being overpowered by Zi or Kui is a sign of the loss in the battle to contain or eliminate the virus. For those who have a basic knowledge on how to read the Chinese lunar calendar, will know that the year 2020 is of the Gen Zi year. Gen is metal, whereas Zi is water, and this paints a metaphorical picture of metal melts into liquid. Additionally, if you look into the flying stars in 紫微斗数, the year 2022 has the gun metal in the heavenly stem, causing 天同 to be paired with 化忌, which is a negativity enhancer star, as we refer to the flying star sequence 根阳武阴同. 天同 represents both mental and physical well-being, and with 天同 paired with 化忌, it has already indicated the possibility of the entire world population being affected both physically and mentally in a negative way due to the presence of COVID-19. In the year 2020, the world has begun to understand that one of the life-threatening conditions caused by COVID-19 is that of difficulty in breathing. Many patients reported the feeling of drowning due to difficulty in breathing due to fluid in their lungs. In more precise medical description, if COVID-19 pneumonia progresses, more of the air sacs can become filled with fluid leaking from the tiny blood vessels in the lungs. Eventually, shortness of breath sets in and can lead to acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is a form of lung failure. Through the year 2020, COVID-19 has conquered the world. Moving into the year 2021, which is of the Xing, which is a sign of earth enhancing the metal element. However, Chou represents the wet earth element, which can still trigger the creation of the water element, which is further enhanced by the metal elements in the heavenly stem. Additionally, according to the flying star in 紫微斗数, 星具阳曲昌 indicated that Wenchang is paired with Huaji, and Wenchang is a star that represents news, laws, jurisdiction, legislation, and government. Wenchang Huaji in the year 2021 has brought about many changes in the laws in many countries. These laws, which largely affected the lives of many, included social distancing, laws related to travels, new regulations regarding self-quarantine, and the like have caused major inconveniences to people around the world. Negative news of millions of deaths worldwide have been reported in the year 2021 with no clear sign of an end to this global crisis. Moving into the year 2022, it is of the year Ren Yin, once again with the Ren water element appearing in the heavenly stem. What it means is that in the first half of the year 2022, the COVID-19 global crisis will continue to worsen. The months of January to May carries with them elemental energies that can cause an increase in the water elemental energy. Additionally, according to the flying star in 紫微斗数, 人梁直着武 Wu Qu, a star that represents the lungs and respiratory system and military operations, is paired with Huaji, the negativity enhancer star. Therefore, the COVID-19 crisis will continue to deteriorate worldwide. Interestingly, military operations have also been observed in Russia and Ukraine. I do expect more military conflicts to take place in the coming months in other countries, especially those in the West, given that Wu Qu represents the West. However, entering June and July, there should be an improvement in the situations as the lunar calendar enters into 2 months with a higher amount of fire elemental energy. As explained earlier, the fire element represents the ability to control or eliminate virus. Unfortunately, entering August to December 2022, the water elements once again increased. In fact, it can be predicted that the COVID-19 pandemic will worsen and the spread will become extremely high again near the months of November and December 2022. Sadly, the year 2023 is of the Kui Mao. Once again, as mentioned earlier, Kui is a major factor that represents the spread of virus. Furthermore, Mao is the Changsheng or Zhangsheng of Kui. Zhangsheng means longevity in Bāzhi. Thus, we can see that 2023 will once again be another challenging year for the world in battling against COVID-19. With Changsheng enhancing Kui water, it paints a metaphorical picture that COVID-19 is here to stay. In the year 2023, due to the star Tangnan being paired with Huaji again as Kui Po Ju Yin Tang, there will also be a major increase in the reports of COVID-19 infection, and such infections will affect the reproductive system of people, given that Tannan represents the reproductive function of mankind. In the year 2024 and 2025, the COVID-19 pandemic will experience a slowdown, and by 2026, this pandemic should be under control globally due to the increase in the fire elemental energies. Therefore, we should still exercise patience and take things in stride in the next few years. This battle against COVID-19 will eventually end, but it will take time.